This is the High Flying Podcast where we be drop kicking it with the boys. So make sure to body slam that like, share, and subscribe button, or I have to hit your favorite uncle with the flying burrito. I am your host, Biggie Bag Johnny, and we're sponsored by Retro Toy Markets, ATV Promotions. And today we got a very special guest, iconic, legendary, two-time tag team champion, two-time intercontinental champion, WWE Hall of Famer, author of the book Don't Call Me Chico. This man was the first match of the first WrestleMania. We're talking about the man that went from the NFL to body slamming your favorites in the WWF to writing kids' names on a chalkboard. Tito Santana, ladies and gentlemen. So we're here with Tito Santana, WWE Hall of Famer. Tito, I just want to ask you, you still being active, you still lacing the boots up, wrestlers go on the road for, 300 plus days, that just takes a wear and tear on your, physical and mental, where you at, mentally and physically, like, how are you?
Well, mentally, I'm doing pretty good. Physically, I don't lace the boots up anymore.
Oh no?
I have a torn meniscus on my left knee, and about a year ago, I got in the ring and I just made the two simple moves, and my knee. By the time I got done, thank God that I was in the 6-man tag. I told my team, I said, you're on your own, I can't help you anymore. I tagged out and I was in a lot of pain by the time I left. Okay. So no more ring for me.
So that was the last one. So
yeah.
Let's talk about the first one ever. The first WrestleMania, the first match. What was that feeling like?
Well,
Vince had to really roll the dice with you. You bet everything that night. You did the first match, the opening.
Well, the real wrestling fan knows that at the time, Greg the Hammer Valentine and I had the hottest feud in the WWF. We were selling out for the first time in arenas without Hulk Hogan being there. And then I come to WrestleMania. The day of the show, I find out that I'm going to be the opener. So I went from being in the main event to being an opener. I just saw it being an opener. I was pretty disappointed, and I didn't say nothing because I was a company guy. And right before I went through the curtains, Vince snuck up behind me and he says, "Tito, I just want you to know that the reason you're the first match is because I need you to get them off their ass, and you're the one that can do it." And it gave me a completely different outlook of why I was the first match. And years later, it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me.
The green IC title, and then you just one day after so many years, you just threw it out.
When you would lose a belt, the person that beat you would keep the belt. So I beat Greg the Hammer Valentine, and then he beat it up in the cage. I mean, it was pretty well beat up, bent off the strap, the metal off the leather. So I brought it home, and they told me that next TV taping they were going to have the new belt. So I have a pretty nice gym in my house, and I had it right there next to the bench press bench, and probably about 10 years. And then I would look at it as junk. Finally, I threw it away in the freaking garbage. And now it's probably worth, I was telling Anthony that somebody told me that it would probably get $50,000 for that, and he thinks more even. I mean, because that was beat up. That was real, and that belt meant something. At one point, that meant as much as the world title. I don't know if you guys remember especially when the Ultimate Warrior was the IC champ, meant quite a bit.
So with all of that, knowing the price today, if WWE didn't swoop to put it in its vault, would you have sold it for the $50,000 to $80,000?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Knowing what I know now,
right.
It's but I got rid of a lot of my boots and a lot of my trunks, and I know I undersold them also, because people are paying a lot of money for ring war and stuff, and the only thing I have left from the WWF are the boots that I used to wear when I was El Matador. So it's the only thing I have left. You know, everything else is gone.
That's crazy. So your work ethic is known all over. So back in your era, you had to be true to your gimmick. You had to be tough. You had to be, you had to stick to a code of honor. Nowadays, Hall of Famers are saying that this era is soft. If you can, from right now, I say it's watered down, but for right now, can you give me like 3 to 5 guys that you can say in this era that can make it in your era?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't watch it.
Yeah. Okay.
So the only guy that I know is Randy Orton and what's the champion's name?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns, because he's the son. I met him when he was real little, and those are the only 2 that I don't know the other guys. So I couldn't. I don't watch it, so I couldn't judge him. And,
All right.
I know it's different. I know it's a different game now.
Tito Santana in his prime, the flying burrito versus the Roman Reigns fist pump. Where you going with it? The flying.
Well, I think the flying burrito could take anybody down if it landed good.
Yeah. All right. So the transition between you doing football to the WWF and E to you now being a school teacher, what is that like? You're going from training all day, showing the world to now it's like a just kids just rotating every year and dealing with those.
Well, it just my choices just kept getting tougher. Football was tough. Got into wrestling, no pads. A lot of injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, my first few days of training, my whole side just hitting the rope was black and blue. So it went from worst to worst. And then when you get in, I happened to be teaching middle school kids. And, a lot of those kids, they're tough, but when you look at the really tough kids, kids usually find out that they have maybe one parent at home or no parents, being raised by the grandparents. And they're just looking for somebody who cares for them, and they're looking for love. And, if you're sincere and the kids are smart, they can tell when you really care for them. So I do believe that I have made a difference.
Yeah.
It was my 8th grade gym coach who made a difference in my life. It was because of him that I started playing sports, and I realized that he cared about me. And he would say he wanted me to start playing football when I was in 8th grade, and I had no idea. He says, "I'll take you home. I'll drop you off. I'll pick you up." And I wouldn't even ask my mom, but I did go out for basketball that year, and believe it or not, we were 33-0 my 8th grade year in basketball as 8th graders. I gave the kids a break on the price of this, and there's been quite a few that got it. But it was Jesse the Body Ventura who wrote the what is it that you called it, the preface or whatever, the foreword, yeah. And it was Jesse the Body who started calling me Chico, while he was doing the commentating, and we were traveling, so I wasn't watching wrestling either because we were traveling. But one morning I was in a hotel, and then I hear Jesse the Body calling me Chico, and I would get to the arenas, and the arenas back then they would be packed, and the fans were hey Chico, and they were really pissing me off because I thought they were being very disrespectful, but then I realized it was Jesse who was calling me Chico, and that's the reason. But speaking of the devil, he's right there.
Look at that.
And if you ask Jesse who he would wrestle, he always says that Tito Santana would be his choice.
I hear that in a lot of interviews.
Anybody that he would wrestle.
The work ethic is amazing. Thank you so much, Tito. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, man.
You're welcome.
One of the greatest IC champions. The work ethic is there.
course, that's why you're a Hall of Famer. This is Biggie Back Johnny. We out here.
Thank you.